Welcome to Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best that Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state and what makes our wines and wineries the best. Howdy, fellow wine lover. Welcome to the introductory episode for Texas Under Vine. Join us as we get the lay of the land, and I'll tell you all about what this podcast will have to offer. Texas is a big state, but Texas is also a very proud state. We have many great things that define who we are as a people. From incredible barbecue to music to pro and college sports, we Texans love to brag that we have the best. As the saying goes, everything's bigger in Texas. Well, what about wine? Texas does not immediately come to mind for many people when they think of this great beverage. Images of Lone Star or Shiner beer are more in line with the typical stereotypes of this state. However, this state's wine industry is growing at incredible rates. According to Statista.com, as of 2021, Texas now has the third most number of wineries in the state, behind only the well-known wine giants of California and Washington. In addition, the National Association of Wineries shows Texas to be the fifth leading state for wine production, and that statistic is based on 2018 numbers. Most people know or have heard of the famous wine area in the Texas Hill Country around Fredericksburg, but as of now, there are 8 AVAs, or American Viticultural Areas, defined in the state. From what I've read, there are more applications in the works, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that number increase over the next chapter in Texas wine history. There are wineries all over the state, with new ones popping up at a rapid pace. The sheer number of them can leave a wine enthusiast's head spinning. My background? I'm a relative newcomer to the wine industry and have been a wine enthusiast and dabbler for many years. However, over the past year, I've indulged my passion for this tasty libation even more. I began working in a tasting room for a well-known and established Texas winery. I also achieved my WSET Level 1 credential, and I'm working on my Level 2 goals right now. Living in the Austin area, I've taken many trips to the Fredericksburg area and have explored many of the wineries along the famous 290 Wine Road. However, as more and more have sprung up, I've been a tad overwhelmed by the variety and a little lost as to which ones to visit on those trips. Not knowing anything about them except the names, I found it challenging to select which ones to place on my list for visiting. While working in the tasting room as well, I've heard from many of our customers that they have similar feelings about not knowing where to start on a wine exploration trip. That sprung the idea for this podcast. The goal of this show is not to tell you which wineries and vineyards are good and which ones are bad. Those types of things are way too subjective for me to put here, as my tastes will differ from yours in many ways. Instead of a review, my goal is to tell you what a particular winery or vineyard has to offer, and hopefully add in some interviews with folks at each location. Each episode will highlight a different venue that offers wine to the public. Hopefully, if you want to go out on your own wine tour, you can listen to the episodes and plan out a travel itinerary based on the sites that best suit your interests. I want to be informative about each location's policies and amenities, and even provide some info on the various types of wines that particular winery makes. My goal is that this will give you enough information to plan a trip and taste some of the flavorful wine we have in our state. With that goal in mind, I plan to start my wine exploration trips within the next few months and release episodes as I finish them. Living in the Central Texas area means many of the first episodes will be about wineries close to my home. However, I will begin taking more and more trips to further locations all over the state, so that no matter where you live, you can find info on great Texas wine options near you. To help you find winery episodes near you, I've divided the state into 8 geographical regions. Now, I know that some of you will take issue with the lines I've drawn, but this will at least give you some organization to the podcast. On the podcast website, you'll be able to find a map of Texas with all of the regions marked off and labeled. I'll add a simple acronym in the title of each episode to designate which of the 8 regions that winery or vineyard falls into. Hopefully, this will help you track down episodes that deal with sites near your location in Texas. That said, podcasts aren't free, and I'll be investing much of my time and money into producing these episodes. It truly is a labor of love, invigorated by my passion for wine. If you're a podcast subscriber and are interested in donating to help with my production expenses, you can find information on the website or contact me by email or on my socials. I'll also have a Patreon site for the show with varying levels of support available and lots of tremendous benefits for supporters, like early access to the show, ad-free listening, and more. Finally, if you're a wine-oriented business interested in sponsoring the show or advertising on it, please get in touch with me. My contact email is scott@texasundervine.com, and you can find me on many social networking sites at @TexasUnderVine. Well, that about wraps up the introductory episode. I'm now off to explore some fun wineries and vineyards. Look for the first episodes to start releasing soon. Subscribe to the podcast and you won't miss any of the episodes. Follow my socials to be notified whenever a new episode is posted. Until next time, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all. Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at TexasUnderVine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback. Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly.